Brent, I understand that you've started yourself a nonprofit organization over here to help enhance conditions on the island. Tell me a bit about it.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for asking. We created, I co-founded Green Collar Technologies that was 14 years ago, to teach classes. So we did sustainability classes based on, these are really beginner classes to help people learn how to do some basic wiring, put up some solar panels, live off grid, do some organic gardening and farming and rainwater harvesting, the skills that people I felt needed, and I felt it was sort of really important at the time. And it's sustainability is a problem that's important every 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, it's kind of was part of the reason why I have continued with this channel.
Yeah,
basically the idea.
It's so helpful, right? Because if people are not afraid to get started, then they'll put a seed in the ground and they'll give it a shot. And if they get that feeling of growing something that they can eat or a medicine, they'll do it again. And so I think it's really important education you're doing, and we thought it was too at the time. So we started sustainable healthcare as a project, and we called that project Hawaii Cannabis Organization. And from that, this was now 2012, 2013, and there were talks of getting a dispensary program in Hawaii because we
didn't have any. Yeah,
for 15 years, Hawaii had a medical program with no way to get the medicine.
Yeah.
And so, we learned a lot during those years. And then I say there's a strong cannabis community here. Mike Ruggles, the Alternative Pain Management Clinic, is one of the OGs, one of the leaders of the patient movement.
I get the right guy. That's the health food store owner too, yeah?
No.
That's another one.
That would be Senator Russell Ruderman.
Sorry.
Yeah, his connection is introducing legislation while he was a senator for Puna.
Yeah. Ruggles is the one who's always in court.
Mike is the guy that has beat them in court. Yes.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, successfully, which is very difficult to do. The state spent millions of dollars to try to prosecute him. It was a horrendous case. What they did was really, really unfair. From the headlines that they created to the final play where they dropped all of the charges except for an ounce and a vape pen after a 4-year court battle.
Yeah.
But he won, and that was a joyful day. And so these things led to having conversations about cannabis back in 2013, I believe it was, and the founding of this Hawaii Cannabis Organization. But meeting with Senator Ruderman, actually, and Joyce Ann Buenaventura.
Yeah, I know Joy.
And Daniel Mori and I and William Collins, we met to just sort of explain to our lawmakers, hey, this is what's going on, and it's really crazy. And they suggested we create a different nonprofit, a patients union. So we created the Hawaii Patients Union, and then that was sort of the front for all of our conferences and other classes. We did, probably a couple dozen smaller classes for 20 to 30 attendees, where we brought in doctors from the mainland, and we basically just started bringing people together like we did for sustainability. Now we're just doing that for cannabis, and then we created larger conferences and
mostly focusing on the medical applications for your patients.
Yeah. So what was it? 2013 or 2014, maybe 2014, we did the first medical cannabis day. And so that was an idea from Dr. Clifton Otto over on Oahu, was to hold a medical cannabis day. And so we did that, and they flew the American flag over the Capitol building for Medical Cannabis Day in Hawaii and sent us the flag.
Oh, wow.
And proclamation. So we started getting we started really making everything kind of official by getting mayoral and gubernatorial proclamations that said, yes, June 14th is Medical Cannabis Day in Hawaii, because that's the day that then Governor Benjamin Cayetano signed our medical cannabis law. So that's where it all came from, and events that I've been doing since then have all been just focused on education and trying to help more people understand what's going on so that we can tackle the absurdity, right?
We need it, because cannabis has really been under government fascism, horticultural fascism is how I refer to it.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
For a long time, and everything really that has created the laws opposing cannabis, almost every bit of it was based on lies and prejudice.
Right.
There is almost no fact or truth involved at all. And I don't blame a lot of people here on the island, for instance, grow and use, but they won't register medically. The reason why is because the cops here on the island will pull your record through the FBI to get a gun check. And if you want to get yourself a shotgun, if you're using medical cannabis on this island, the cops are going to tell you, oh, no, you can't use it. You have it. You're a drug user, because that's a federal crime yet. On the other hand, you can have a prescription from the doctor for Oxycontin, and you can own a 357 if you want. See,
make an armory.
It is so ridiculous,
Yeah, I just had my whole garden wiped out by pigs.
Oh my God.
And I don't have any way to protect my plants.
Air guns. Anyhow.
Yeah, so when you're doing the events, right, and trying to bring everyone together, there is this contingency, right, that, like you said, they don't want to sign up for any medical, and I certainly don't blame them. They don't really want to sign up and even go to an event, right? They're just staying off grid because of this fear that's been instilled in our,
and it's false,
our society.
It's been a lie all throughout,
and it was a lie the entire time. The prison sentences were real. What they did to Roger Christie was real. What they've done to hundreds of people, right? They
ruin their lives.
Yeah, if you've got 10,000 people on the list, they'll take 100 to court every year, and then they'll put 10 of those in prison.
Yeah.
And this went on for decades, and now the latest legalization bill is going to put in an almost 10% tax on top of every bag sold at a dispensary, which is the only way that most people can buy, right?
Yeah.
But then 5% of that is already going into an eradication budget to law enforcement.
Yeah.
So they'll tax the weed, make the price go up, grow the black market, right? Because they'll make the black market more valuable. And then they'll come and fly the helicopters all day again.
Well,
and
the whole thing is based on stupidity. All right, it really is, and ignorance. The whole problem. There never has been a problem with the herb. The herb has always been a friend of the farmer, friend of the doctor, friend of the pharmacist throughout most of history for thousands of years. It wasn't until you get DuPont, Onslanger, and what's his name, Hearst. William Randolph, working together to pull yellow journalism, and Anslinger was a horrible racist, and that's the only reason we got the word marijuana. Okay, because that was Mexican slang. I would refuse to use it in public because of him.
Same.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Well, and these people, the judge that's hearing the case, the prosecutor, the law enforcement officer, all of these people that are involved all have endocannabinoid systems.
That's right.
They all require cannabinoids to live.
I know.
And here they are putting people in jail.
No, it's complete insanity. I absolutely agree.
It's just nuts.
Yeah.
We have cannabis in our DNA. We have cannabis biomarkers in our DNA that actually inform us of which strains are best for our body based on ancient knowledge in our bodies. And our medical program can't even faithfully reproduce ingredients on a bottle.
Yeah.
They can't even make strain recommendations.
Yeah.
And there's really, for example, let me just give you a quick example. If your child is suffering from grand mal seizures, any seizures right now, and you want to go and get specific ingredients to treat that, you cannot do that at a medical cannabis dispensary in Hawaii. And that's wrong. That's not a medical program. That's a fascist regime.
It is.
Taking money fraudulently from people by saying that it's a medical program.
Well,
there's not even a medical program leader right now. There's not even a person in charge.
Being a guy myself who is usually taking almost everything under my own belt to worry about, the house produces 100% of its own energy. My cars run on the sun, okay, and so on. And I do that because I do that. I don't sit around and wait for somebody else to do it,
Yeah.
I grow cannabis here medically. I also experiment with individual cannabinoids on my partner medically. And if we sit around and wait for the government, that ain't going to happen anytime soon. You and I will both be dead before it gets straightened out. The plant will never be a normal plant like corn or sunflowers, ever, because of what we did to it. But the least we can do is to bring it down maybe to the same sort of laws as home wine and beer making or something, All right. If you get it down into that category, I don't worry about it. I also am not that worried about the government taxing the stuff as long as they don't go out of control on it, because, the government's job is regulation and taxation. That's what they do. Prohibition is not necessarily the government's job, And imagine all the money them suckers that would have made off of this herb all over all those years. Everybody would have been happy. Why do you think you got drug dealers?
Well, same with tomatoes, right? Nightshades.
Yeah.
Nightshades kill people. You can't even open a pack of peanuts on an airplane.
There you go.
Right? But
and yet there is no...
but there's no...
no danger in cannabis.
There's no eradication effort, right?
That's right. Let's eradicate all the nightshades. I ran across one man in my life who claimed to be allergic to cannabinoids.
Hypermesis is a real condition.
Yeah, but this is actually quite rare from my experience. I've run across so few people that way.
Once you're in the medical community, it's surprising how many people tell you that they have some form of allergy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed with the high THC strains, it seems to produce over a multi-decade period, it seems to produce side effects. What I'm starting to hear is people that are not able to smoke like they used to, or they're not able to partake or use edibles like they used to, and they're reporting different reactions.
I see.
So I think this would probably fall into that hypermesis category, where different levels, spectrum of side effects that are not favorable.
I'm not even allergic to poison ivy or things that most people are allergic to.
Same. I'm not allergic to much either. I'm so lucky.
With cannabinoids, the only thing that happens to me with continuous usage is tolerance.
Yeah.
Tolerance is fast and pretty high for me. You give me 2 weeks, say, using Delta 8 hash oil or something for sleep or for blood pressure control, I'm going to end up having to increase the dosage after a couple of weeks by a bit, because it creeps up. I find myself having to just completely quit periodically and then turn around and go back later to reduce the intake. The only problem with that is that in the meantime my blood pressure starts going up. Yeah, and so I got to try to catch it before it gets up too high,
Yeah,
so anyway,
well, just to finish your thought on the unique compounds. That's really what we're shooting for with the Dragon's Web, right? The cannabinoid is varin, cannabidivarin, and this is what we find in Charlotte's Web, and it's also what we find in the only approved CBD product by the FDA, which is a British company. And so it's for about $30,000 a year, you can get this varin in a jar and give it to your kid, right, to treat epilepsy.
Or you can
grow it right here in Puna, right?
That's the point.
And
it works in the garden, damn it.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I wish more people would do that. I wish they would target these individual compounds, because some of the folks don't know what the compounds are or why they work or how they work. They just know that if they go to their neighbor and get their neighbor's weed, that it treats their condition and makes them feel right.
Well, that's just...
And that's more than what they can do at a dispensary.
Well, that's what I've been doing here, experimenting on my partner with pure crystalline extracts of various cannabinoid compounds, experimenting to see which ones induce sleep better for her, which ones stop the legs from twitching, and so on.
The myrcene, right?
Yeah, or what combinations of the two in an entourage, do the job.
Yeah.
Without getting her high.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's where these compounds, when they've been isolated and separated, can come in very, very handy for people.
One really easy way to do that is to just let the THC convert. Over time, it's going to convert, and instead of making you high, it's going to make you drowsy.
You mean let it get old?
Let it get old.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, when all the resin droplets start turning brown and gold, you're in the sleep mode. Now, are you talking about in the field or in the jar?
In the jar.
In the jar. Okay, so as it oxidizes, the same thing happens. Huh?
I'd let it convert over a 1 to 2 year period.
Interesting.
And that's why when you get year-old cannabis from a dispensary, the thing's already converting. It was tested a year ago. Doesn't have the same ingredients anymore. This is not a medical program.
I should be so lucky I get into that situation. I can never keep up myself. Never keep up. Yeah, I'm always trying to grow ahead of myself. Anyway, Brent, this has been very interesting, and we're going to have you back again. I don't know what we'll talk about next time. Maybe you can come up with something, but hey.
Yeah, well, I'd like to mention our next event, Medical Cannabis Day, is June 14th, and we're going to do something really different. So we've always done sort of trade show education type, the normal format. Well, we're doing a screenplay this year. And it's going to be held at the Palace Theater.
I'll be darned.
This is from 6 to 8 p.m. Saturday night, June 14th, our 25th anniversary of medical cannabis law. It's not our 25th medical cannabis day.
Right.
And so this is going to be a really unique event where we're going to hopefully share a narrative that everyone comes up with. And as this narrative is going by on the screen, we'll be stopping at key dates where we have local Hawaii growers, medical professionals, other people that have sort of led the way, our OGs, right, our legacy growers. We're going to recognize them on the stage.
No.
So we call it the Hawaii Cannabis Awards Show. So you could think of it like other cannabis awards, but this one is going to be a show combined in with it. So it should be super exciting, funny. We're trying to unite the past, present, and future, and create something moving forward that everyone can really be happy about.
Well, I'm glad that somebody is bothering with all of this. We'll be back.
Super grateful for you, Bill. Thank you. I really
you're
appreciate
welcome,
it.
Man.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, hang loose, everybody.